Hi, John Dwyer here, and this is a case study that involves a specialist doctor who helps ladies with menopause problem. And her name is Dr. Maureen McGill. She's become a dear friend, but she was a client in my coaching program, and she had a surgery practice on the Gold Coast in Australia, and she is an expert at natural remedies for ladies who suffer from menopause problems, and she's very much against the I guess the chemical solutions, and she would probably be, if not the one of the experts in Australia when it comes to natural remedies for ladies having menopause issues. And she said, look, the problem was that her surgery was only running at about 50% occupancy rate. And I said to her, okay, let me have a look at what you've been doing marketing wise. And she said to me, look, I've been doing the sort of stuff that you mentioned in terms of putting out letterbox brochures and targeting the local area and so forth, but it just doesn't seem to be working. And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I've been to your seminars and I've seen that, you know, you're supposed to market yourself as the expert. You're supposed to identify the problem and then give them a solution. You're supposed to take their eyes off the price. I think I'm doing all of those things. And I said, well, let me have a look at the leaflet or brochure that you're letterbox dropping. And oh my goodness, when I had a look at it, instead of using one of the graphic artists who come with my program in terms of a supplier list, I provide all the people who come into my world with a supplier list of the graphic artists and the website designers and the TV producers and the script writers and all of that. She used someone who she knew. Now, I don't know, I can't recall now whether it was a son-in-law or brother-in-law or something like that, but the fact is she took my teachings, but she gave it to someone who was not qualified to execute those teachings. And so you'll see the before and after in the case study in terms of that brochure. It looked like a school tuck shop brochure. It was just awful, okay? And had the right ingredients, it was just the execution was poor. And so I said to her, look, how about you use my artists? And of course you can see when you scroll through the story below, the transformation was quite dramatic. Same information, it was just the way that it was executed. So it's not just the formula, it's the execution of the formula. We all know that, okay? And I said to her, look, aside from making the brochure look much classier and therefore you look much classier, okay, we got her to dress in red and power colours, and the whole thing made her look like the expert that she really was, rather than the, you know, the school flyer. I said, look, you're probably letterbox dropping this in the wrong areas. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, the area around your surgery at the moment is a mixture of working class people, and there might be the odd suburb that had a few dollars, but basically it was a working class area. Can I ask you this? Do rich women get menopause? Right? Which is a silly question. I'm being sarcastic. And she said, yeah. And I said, good. Well, we're going to chase down the rich women and we're going to put your consultancy rate up. She said, what do you mean? I said, what do you charge at the moment per consultancy? Now, don't quote me on these figures, but I think it was something like $75 per 15 minutes or 17 minutes consultation. And I said, well, let's put that up. And she said, oh, I've been thinking about putting it up, you know, maybe to $85 or $90. I said, no, put it up to $150. And she said, what? I can't go from $75 per consultation to $150. I said, yes, you can. If you attract the right audience. If you actually put these classier brochures, which position you up here instead of down here, out in the right suburbs where there are rich women with these sorts of, you know, headaches, then you'll find that money goes out the window. I mean, let's face it, if you've got a health problem, if you've got a menopause problem, is price an issue if you're going to be able to fix that because you've come across the number one expert in the country? I don't think so. Now, price is an issue, of course, if you're broke, but price is not an issue if you're someone with enough money to fix that problem. So I said, why don't we actually double your rates, because you deserve to be the expert, you deserve to get the money that you should, you know, command at that level, and we just market your services to rich women. Okay, it's called message to market match. Now that's what we did. And we put the letterbox brochures out. For those of you who don't live in Australia, this won't mean much, but we put them out in, you know, very wealthy suburbs like Sanctuary Cove and the Sovereign Islands and other rich areas within the Gold Coast of Australia. And as it turned out, she was booked out within a week. She was booked out for 3 months. She was booked out for 3 months, and I have a video testimonial from her saying exactly that. And then what we did is that we said to her, look, you can take this thing global, and what we need to do is create a website for you, which would be something like fixmymenopause.com or something like that, whereby we could actually have you show women anywhere in the world an opportunity to download your $297 program of showing them how they can naturally fix their their menopause problem, whether they're in Los Angeles or Hong Kong or China, it doesn't matter where it was. Now, that is I think a very good example for you. I always try and bring these case studies back to, well, what's the relevance to you no matter what business you're in? The relevance to this one is message to market match. You see, the thing is that she was someone who is probably one of the leading natural therapy menopause doctors in Australia, and yet she was putting out imagery on brochures and everything else, including her website, that didn't make her look like the expert that she was. So it was a matter of, in Australia we would call this, she was David Jones dressed up in buy-low clothing. So a high-end department store dressed up like a cheap supermarket. And we just flipped that on its head. We made sure that we positioned her in the right fashion. We made sure her brand persona was up where it needed to be. She doubled her prices, doubled, not 10% or 20%, she doubled her prices, and got booked out for 3 months after the first letterbox campaign and has never looked back since. So ask yourself, are you Rolls-Royce, but you're actually promoting yourself in Volkswagen clothing? Or Datsun or Toyota clothing? Because if you are, then understand that there's a certain trick, there's a certain strategy to marketing yourselves to the elite, okay, and to the wealthy. And if you're going to be marketing to the wealthy, you have to take a leaf out of BMW and you have to take a leaf out of Mercedes, okay, or Hilton Hotel. So I hope you get a lot of value out of that. Have a look at the case study below and you'll see exactly what we did, and hope you enjoy.